Grandma Gratlin, the director. But the most important question is, of course, choosing the lead actor who will play the great Knight Commander. We had a right Barney over here, breaking a number of lances, as well as a shovel, a rolling pin, and a set of back scratchers. But we couldn't decide no matter what. Maybe you can help us. We have two candidates that are most suited to the role. One will have the honor of conveying your heroism upon the stage, Commander. Okay, so we have gnomes or a cyclops to convey our heroism upon the stage. I don't really want the cyclops. I don't want an overtowering figure. I want to tell a story of small folk doing little deeds, each at a time, which in the end will still triumph against evil. I mean, that's the basic morale that Tolkien tried to convey in The Lord of the Rings. In the end, it wasn't great heroes that saved the world, or mighty wizards, or ancient immortal elves, or steadfast dwarfs. No, it was a little hobbit, a little common folk. These were the ones that, through their singular small acts of courage, in the end, changed the world and defeated evil. I mean, of course, Tolkien wrote The Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit. First he started writing The Hobbit back in the days when he was part of the First World War, when he was fighting and when he was forced to sit somewhere very, very, very unpleasant. You might have heard of certain battles that took ages, and all the soldiers had to show for hundreds of thousands of people dying were 10 meters of one land. I'm talking about the trench war, of course. And in one of these trenches, Tolkien, according to his biography, started writing his novels, his ideas, and many of these stories about the small folk, through their singular acts of courage and through their attempt to do what's right, even not on grand scale, still in the end scaled the balance and evil could not triumph. And that is the moral of The Lord of the Rings, that everyone can do his part, even if it is small, that doesn't matter. And that's a beautiful idea, so I'm to be played by a gnome. Ah, not a gnome, two gnomes. Rubbledoom and Harryford are twins. One of them sits on the other's shoulders and puts on a long coat so they can play tall characters. They switch places every so often, so each gets their moment of fame, and that way they only have to learn half of the script. That's genius. Don't you have any other actors who even vaguely resemble me? We're a small and poorly funded theater, and we only have a few actors, but they are all so talented. One of a kind. I've chosen the ones that are the best fit for your role. Trust my vision. I have more than a few successful plays under my belt. Cyclops actor? He's completely tame, believe me. He has a few issues with articulation, but what a powerful physique. We'll make him a nice costume, wash him up, brush his hair. Truth be told, in our show you mainly just make short heroic exclamations at the fateful moment, like "Onward!" or "We'll never give up!" or "My heart burns with courage." Lampkin can definitely handle the script. Alright, I've made my decision. The entire crew looks at you, holding their breath. You're the director. It's your choice. Wonderful! Sorry we took you away from all the important things heroes and commanders do. We're off to rehearsal. I mean, first we'll wash some pots, then we're off to rehearsal. Let's go. You lazy lumps, don't embarrass old grandma now.
Our path leads on.
I was just talking about trenches, and here we have a trench. Even if it's not really fortified, but still.
I will guide us.
Oh, we have horses now. Nice.
Godspeed.
Hey, more grain. I was trying to say, the Knight Commander commands the knights. Really fast, and I almost twisted my tongue. Man, that was something. Oh, there you are, you dashing troublemaker, you. Darian flashes you a self-satisfied smile. Our short acquaintance is coming to an end. Very soon you will depart on your crusade, where you will scrape by on horrible rations, struggle vainly to fall asleep amidst snoring soldiers, be rudely awakened by the freezing cold, and have to look upon the dour faces of self-righteous prigs, before you finally perish in the maw of some demon. I, myself, have a journey ahead of me too. I've just rented a sailboat in the south. I've also hired in an excellent chef and a host of other entertainments. Some wonderful ladies. You don't want to come with me, right? Well, to each their own, I suppose. Farewell, my friend. Before I go. Duran pauses, then suddenly adds in a more serious voice. You know, I am genuinely sad to see you go. If it sounds like mockery, forgive me. I cannot switch off my venom gland on a whim, you see, but you intrigue me. If only we could have spent a little more time together, but, of course, Duran grimaces. Not under these conditions. I'll let the Crusaders and the demons have at each other. With any luck, they'll take this entire sanctimonious spectacle down with them. If you feel you don't belong here, go, but I'd like to see you again someday in the future, to get to know you better. You can throw a banquet for me to celebrate our victory in Dresden. What do you say? Victory in Dresden! Your optimism is so charming. Darren smirks, then seems to start slightly. He continues in a more even tone. Well, should you prove lucky enough to survive by some miracle, come and find me. Perhaps I shall even remember you. No promises, though. In any case, I intend to wait until the army departs. I do love a good send-off, especially when it is I who is staying and someone else who is heading off to meet a dreary and hopeless end. Sometimes it does one good to ruminate on the unfairness of life. Well then, farewell, Commander. I assume I shall be your most precious memory on this most disgusting and exhausting road to the pointless slaughter of battle. Or, if not, the most precious memory, that at least the most stirring. Duran smirks before instantly losing all interest in you, or at least he pretends to. Odd fellow. Well, he has found two new friends, so he's good. Nura Dendiwar's tent. What has just happened? The storyteller! Hello there. Who's this? This is Nura Dendiwar's tent. It seems she brought... I just found out how we can read this stuff. I just have to pause. She brought a lot of unnecessary items along with her. What do we have here? Healer and the Seekers of the Needle Glens? Interesting. And we have, without a shadow of a doubt, inspecting nothing in return, the life and feats of Lord Axelar Trespot. Also very interesting, I recommend reading it. We also have potions, and a lot of scrolls, and we have stuff. And on the nature, yeah, we already read that one. several times before. We had the chance to read that. Ah, the old elf smiles when he hears your footsteps. Allow me to congratulate you on your victory, and on acquiring mythical powers capable of casting down the strongest of demons. I got the page you were looking for from the Grey Garrison. The storyteller carefully takes the page from your hands. His fingers touch the ancient letters gently, examining them lightly, following their lines. I see myself, young, energetic, able to see. Oh God, have I found the key to my past? Finally, I will find out what my own mind has been hiding from me. The elf's expression becomes withdrawn, the wrinkles on his face soften. Thank you, Morgraine, and please follow me to my story. Let us embark on this journey together. The storyteller inhales sharply a few times and begins his story. They are leaving. The people of Kyonin faced the coming Earthfall and admitted that they were incapable of handling this disaster. Proud rulers, artful crafters, brave warriors, wise mages, and skilled healers, all of them hurry to the gate to Soviron, looking around fearfully. A clean, safe world is waiting. My people decided not to fight for Galarion. I am ashamed, and I am sorry for them. Their hearts wavered in the face of the catastrophe. But my will is strong. I am staying. My kinfolk are looking at me angrily. How dare I diminish their decision with my recklessness? My choice makes them cowards, traitors of their own home. One of them, my former mentor, looks at me bitterly. He hands me a neat notebook with a tree bark cover. In case you change your mind. With a heavy sigh, he returns to the line of those departing. Forgive me, brothers and sisters. I watch the gate of the Soviron stone close, separating me from them. It's time for me to go too. I open my master's notebook. These are his notes about traveling between worlds, in case you change your mind. He hopes the burden I shouldered voluntarily will be too much. I will lose heart and find my way to Soviron. That will never happen, my mouth set stubbornly. I tear my master's notebook to pieces. I use my forced pride as a shield against my fear of what is to come. Why did the elves decide to flee, not to fight? The storyteller's lips purse with disdain. They are afraid to lose what they have. They were rulers, long-lived and powerful. They valued their lives and sunshine too much to enter the fight with the aftermath of Earthfall. Your mentor is a mage? Then you must be too, yes? Yes, I am an archmage, and this title is well deserved. I've acquired delicate mastery and succeeded in many areas of magic, but curiosity has always pushed me toward new knowledge since the first day of my apprenticeship. What is the Soviron stone? A magnificent crystal bent into an arc by a mighty hand of an ancient divine creator. Our great gate to other worlds. It breathes power. It dreams of eternity. Why are you angry at your fellow elves? I spent many hundreds of years in Kyonin. I have always admired the way my kinfolk cared for the forest that was our home. But the rest of the world. And just a small mention. In the future, when these texts appear, of stuff that I already read about, I'm still going to open them, so if you're new to this, you can pause this and read what you don't know. I'm just going to continue. But the rest of the world seemed to mean nothing to them. But I love Galarion. All its places, all the forms it manifests in. I travelled widely and then came home and told my kinfolk about my travels, but they weren't interested. They only cared about Kyonin. Their lack of desire to hear about the wider world makes me sad and angry. What happened next? Earthfall happened at night. I'm standing at the top of my tower, many miles to the north of Keonin, and I see a blaze far in the south. Ah, many miles to the north of Keonin, okay. There is his tower. I hear a horrendous rumble. The air is groaning, giving way to a huge rock, rushing down on my world. And then a blow. Vibration that penetrates everything, reaching down into the bowels of Golarion and up to the vaults of the sky. Crunching bones, blood from burst vessels, filling my eyes with darkness. Drowning in timelessness along with countless denizens of Golarion. Never before have we been so united in our feelings. When I come around, the darkness remains. My first terrible thought, I am blind. But no. Little by little I begin to see the stone wall. I am alive. But why is it so dark? The answer is quick. The smell of ash everywhere. The great burnt sacrifice filled the air with incinerated particles of what was recently the continent of Asland. Great clouds of ash covered the sky, cutting us off from the sun and the moon, dooming us to dusk at day and complete darkness at night. Asland is a lost continent in the Arcadian Ocean that was the first center of human culture on Golarion. Brought together by the intelligence of the ancient aquatic race of Aboleths, Aslante's society and culture grew by leaps and bounds until their arrogant leaders began to think of themselves as superior to their inhuman masters. In retribution, the Aboleths called down the meteor shower known as Earthfall in 5293. Wait, what? They called them down? Interesting. Sinking the entire continent and condemning Golarion to the edge of darkness. Now all that remains of the once mighty continent are a string of islands and atolls spread across a large swath of the mid-Arcadian Ocean. Very interesting. My heart sings with fear. Treacherous thoughts fill my mind. Why did I stay? Why didn't I run like everyone else when I had the chance? I clenched my teeth and stand up to watch Earthfall, proudly, like the last Archmage of Keonin should. Will my world really perish like this? Will I perish? No, that will never happen. I am still alive, and I can fight Earthfall in the darkness, not run from it in a blind panic like my kinfolk and my cowardly teacher. But what can I do? I will not stop the disaster. I will hardly be able to save empires from their destruction. What can I do? I am but one Archmage, powerful and weak at the same time. What is Earthfall? Ah, a disaster of untold proportions. An unborn planet dropped on Golarion by blind fate or someone's evil will. A blow so strong that the continent of Aslan is destroyed within moments, turned to ashes, wiped off the face of Golarion. In this burned sacrifice, clouds of ash and dust are born, stealing our sun. Without the warmth of our star, the air cools, the soil is barren. Dark creatures crawl out of their lairs to rule. And the most frightening thing, without the sun, all hope dies in the heart. This is the age of darkness. You might have not noticed, but it's actually true. The sun is important. There's something very specific going on when the sun shines on a body. It's also one of the reasons why there's more depression in winter times. Not only the cold, but people having less exposure to sun. Something very similar. If you eat chocolate, similar receptors in your brain are activated as if you would stand in the sun. So if you are exposed to sunshine, you have a good feeling. And if you eat chocolate, you have a similar good feeling. It's actually true, which is odd and both interesting at the same time. Which is also the reason when it gets dark in winter times, try to get as much sun as possible. It's very important for your mental health. This is the age of darkness. During the age of darkness, all major civilizations across Golarion were destroyed, ushering in a time of anarchy and destruction. Minus 5293. What was that tower you mentioned? It's my retreat to the north of Kionin, my home away from home, my observatory. From its top, I watched the stars, and when they were correctly aligned, the other worlds as well. Here in the northern wastelands, I found the highest mountain and built a tower on top of it. On clear days, I could see the mist over the lake of mists and veils in the east. That's how high I was. By the way, the vitamin is vitamin D, right? You should know. What are you going to do next? By the way, vitamins are very important. If you haven't eaten a piece of fruit today, do it. You don't need to eat an entire apple. Just eat at least a piece of it for yourself, and drink water. Less alcohol, more water. Very important. It's one of the things that Arnold Schwarzenegger tried to tell everyone. You should watch some of his videos. He's a great mentor for almost everyone. And once he went to a gym and mostly talked to people, wanted to know what can I do to improve myself. And he said, amongst other things, drink more. Drink water. Your body consists mainly of water. You do sport. You need to drink. You need to drink more. Now drink more. And he's right. It is very important. So, if you haven't drank anything in the last hour, take a water bottle and take a sip. It's for your own good, for your own health. Just do it. It costs you nothing. You can just get tap water if necessary. I mean, if you live in the part of the world where you have tap water, otherwise you're fucked. And you have to buy expensive water, then I'm sorry. Even though there are places on Earth where water isn't very expensive. What are you going to do next? I don't know. First, I need to drink water. I'm done. And then I need to think. My opponent, Earthfall, is much stronger than me. Without noticing, the storyteller raises his voice to a shout. It is merciless. It does not simply destroy life, it kills an era, ending the greatness of Golarion civilizations. They will sink into oblivion, be forgotten as if they never existed. I need to think. And the solution came to me. What can I do? I need to remember. I need to tell stories. I need to make sure the people do not forget their greatness, their heritage. I must become the one to lead knowledge. I will not allow Earthfall to wipe out history. Through me, they will remember. The elf suddenly winces and is silent for a few moments as he calms his heavy breathing. Forgive me. I shouldn't have raised my voice. I'm a mere archmage, forgive me. This story was much harder than many before it. Most likely I played the main role in it. It is so strange to see myself feel the emotions tearing me up inside. Those that I felt a long time ago and not remember them. It's like I split. I became both the storyteller and the main character. Too bad the story ended at that moment. Please, if you find other pages covered with ancient elven writings on your travels, bring them to me. I might be able to shed some light on my past, and we will find out how my story ended, and perhaps even why I forgot. Fall. We had that already. Going to do next. Thank you for your stories, mighty storyteller. Thank you for helping me remember them. I want to discuss your past with you. Ah, thank you for stories. Have you decided to join the crusade? I've decided not to, I'm afraid. My path and the path of the crusade lead in the same direction, but alas, they are not yet one and the same. After the demons were driven away from Canablis, the path into the world wound became open, if only temporarily. I'm planning on using this opportunity to visit. The elf falls silent. Visit what? Visit whom? Visit... It doesn't matter now. I'd dare to bore you with details of my adventure, which may prove useless even for myself. However, I'll try to return to the Crusaders and aid them in the next confrontation with the demons after I'm done. I hope to meet you again in this world rather than the next. I have to go. Interesting adventures. Tirabate's tent. Ah. Hello there. This is mine and Anivia's tent. We're both used to traveling, but the Queen insisted our tent to be furnished like a commanding officer's. 2 big beds. That's exactly what is reasonable. Adventures of a Fearless Crusader, Briggy the Sausage Maker. We have read his story already. Half plate. Oh, would you look at that? Very interesting. What do we have here? Earthbreaker. Say, a lot of coins, thank you. This massive bed is clean and neatly made. Only commanding officers are allowed such luxury during marches.
Let us press on. We march ahead.
Discari and Baphomet. No, we were kid that they're going to kill you. No, we're not going to ask them questions. Please don't be ridiculous. This is the field hospital. Alas, the clerics of Canablis suffered especially heavy losses, so we're in desperate need of healers. Search of Joy, Confessions of a Heretic. Sali Rathimas. Camellia is going to help them. Very nice. Kiado, okay.
That is quite a discovery.
Canabris be damned. Anonymous pamphlet. I spit on the streets of Canablis. I spit on its granite walls and its stained glass windows. Tomorrow the ground trembles, splits apart, and devours this cursed city. I will not shed one tear. No one here, not a single soul, deserves any compassion. Everyone who lives in the city is a criminal. If there were any justice in this world, every one of them would be hanging from the gallows. Prelate Halrun and Queen Galfrey chief among them. Ask anyone on the streets what they know of Mongols. The answer will be dumb, silent, or the lowered eyes of a scoundrel who knows their crimes but doesn't want to think about it. Mongrels, a disgusting nickname, which the residents of the city have given to the brave crusader heroes who defeated the forces of evil, but paid for it with their health. Covered with scabs and tumors, bloated and gnarled, they were no longer beautiful enough to be tolerated by the very people they'd saved. As a reward for their heroism, the city dwellers exiled them to the sewers and damp caves beneath the city. The author of these words went down there and spoke with them. And I'll have you know that the ugliest of them is more noble than all of the paladins of Mendev, not to mention that head-chopping prelate and his murderous queen. And if any pretend that today's city dwellers aren't responsible for the crimes of their grandfathers, then I will spit in their face, for their grandchildren of the exiled are still down there, crawling in the mud and eating garbage. And everyone who knows about this and does nothing, and everyone who should know but prefers blissful ignorance, I say they're all guilty, and they repeat the same crime every day. And as long as this doesn't change, any citizen who desires to fight a demon should take a knife and stab themselves in the stomach. What? Well, your city is already rotten, and you are no better than the demons. And if anyone would repent and right this terrible wrong, they should turn their weapons on the prudish paladins who preach good, but defend an order that flies in the face of justice. That doesn't make any sense. You don't need to kill yourself, you can just try to change stuff. Make sure that people talk about mongrels and accept them. There's no need for violence. Become a politician. Become a paladin yourself. Go to the queen and convince her that the situation with the mongrels needs to change. Down with the paladins. Down with Prelate Hulrune. Down with Queen Golfrey. Yeah, no.
I will guide us.